I've gone on record saying that I'm not partial to romantic comedies. Now, people might say to me, Romney, you're just bitter because you've never had a girlfriend, or you've never been in relationships, but you wouldn't understand. To which my rebuttal will be, A, romantic comedy films produced in the US are not the greatest examples of working relationships, and B, that second factoid isn't going to change anytime soon, none of which is helped by the fact that of all the romantic comedies I've seen, they've all told the same exact story. And I don't mean in the sense of the Joseph Campbell monomyth hero's journey, but more in the sense that there's so many overused cliches and tropes that you could turn a romantic comedy into a drinking game. As such, I went into this film expecting no different, and really, that's exactly what I got. If an opening like that hasn't caused you to click away in some sort of anger or frustration or some sort of eye-rolling annoyance, then, well, stick around as I begin this episode of Romney's Reviews. The best phrase I would use to describe this film would be awkwardly formulaic. While it does provide an interesting twist on the concept, the film still has the same tropes and trappings of your typical run-of-the-mill romantic comedy. Now, it does set itself apart in some ways as an independent film, but a lot of those moments that would set it apart mostly range from mildly cringeworthy jokes to just whole scenes of painful awkwardness. A lot of that awkwardness tends to stem from a really annoying habit that a lot of films have. I don't know if it's something just limited to this decade or if it's something that's been in films throughout the existence of the medium, but it's just a case where they give us something that's supposed to be, well, important information that we know is going to lead to some painful payoff later in the film, and so a lot of the runtime is just spent waiting for said payoff. I mean, some films can do it right, where they have it set up, string along for a little bit, and then have the payoff, but then you have films that just make it feel like you're just dragging on and on. I mean, come on, people. We know that this is going to lead to a painful payoff, so stop wasting my time! One other gripe I had with the film is mostly with the subplot regarding the main character's daughter's friend. Some sort of like, oh, she's like a replacement daughter sort of thing, and really, that didn't really add that much to the film, and the film could have gotten its message across completely fine without it, and so that's the only other major gripe that I have with it, is that, well, there were some subplots and added elements that weren't really necessary to the overall theme and plot of the film. While I did complain about the whole awkwardness, payoff, wait time, and all that, overall the film just didn't leave that much of an impact on me as a viewer. I mean, for a romantic comedy, it's pretty solid, and I did like the idea that it was a romantic comedy starring middle-aged divorcees that have actually been through life and are facing an empty nest, as opposed to the usual starry-eyed 20-somethings that have never been in a serious relationship prior to the film's runtime. So at least those ideas showed that they were actually trying to make something different. The acting is actually pretty good, the dialogue is pretty good, but the overall story and its reliance on painful awkwardness as a source of humor, it just didn't work for me. If you're looking for a romantic comedy that brings interesting ideas to the table, well, I guess you'll probably enjoy this film a lot more than I did, but I don't recommend rushing out to see this in theaters. You're probably better off waiting for it to come to the dollar theaters after its nationwide release, or just waiting to rent it from Netflix, or stream it, I guess is the term now. That said, I give Enough Said a 3 out of 5. So that's it for this episode of Romney's Reviews. If you cannot already tell by the sound of my voice, I'm getting over a pretty nasty cold, which is why I didn't have any Comic-Con footage uploaded over the weekend. I was pretty much bedridden, taking a lot of Robitussin, and drinking enough powder argo-tea to probably reconstruct the tree that it was scraped from. That said, as for next week, you will be finally getting my review of Gravity, for real this time, as well as the first episode of Monster Clash 2013. See ya then.